Welcome to Season 5 of the Long-Winded One podcast. Listen as we showcase original work from top Royal Road authors read by professional voice actors. Hear interviews from your favourite lit RPG and game lit authors. Lastly, listen as the Long-Winded One tries his hand at his first ever lit RPG novel, The Four Treasures.
Excerpt of Doom Guy Isekai, written by Angry Spider, read by Jack Sapsford. Approximately 230 packs of concentrated explosives, all of which had been summoned via explosive munitions and connected to the remarkably helpful remote detonator that had come with the first one, exploded simultaneously, sending a little over 2 million kilojoules worth of sheer, destructive energy straight up. The stands and every demon currently seated on them were basically liquefied as a gout of fire and boiling hot air erupted in a nearly perfect circle, taking the entirety of the stadium with it in a colossal detonation of pure boom. The shockwave blasted up and outward, levelling what was left of the outside auditorium and knocking the walls out, chunks of rubble crashing into the now permanently vacant houses and shops below. The soldier had a gigantic grin on his face. Notifications streaming in faster than he could read them as Alice pulled her dome down, the yellow glow flickering unsteadily as it dissipated back into her. The moment the dome was down, she nearly collapsed, using her shield to support herself, and the golden eye embossed in the silver surface of the shield dimming. Eld shoved her head underneath her spare arm, Isabel nuzzling her in the back. The soldier patted her shoulder, standing slowly. He doubted anything would have survived that. But the way Alice had been talking about the skinny demon, he had a feeling that, yep, there it was. Utterly uninjured and obviously displeased, Turin was standing in the exact same place that he had been, arms gently folded across his chest. The Doom Guy. Do you have the slightest idea of how much of an inconvenience you have been to me? The size of the thorn you represent? It's going to take quite a while for all those demons to come back, and even longer to rebuild the Arena of Joy. Watching those beasts murder each other was one of my favourite hobbies. Do you know that? The soldier pulled a double-barrel shotgun from nowhere, pacing forward and giving Turin a thumbs down. Turin's forehead creased. What exactly do you mean by... Ah, you have discovered a method of permanently slaying us demons. Why am I not surprised? There was no visible moment when Turin moved. One moment, he was standing a good 300 feet away, and the next second, he was standing right next to the soldier. Bending down, the demon curled its claws into a fist and punched the soldier. The impact shattered the ground underneath both of them, and the soldier sailed over brimstone, his view spinning as he careened through empty space. He was pretty sure he'd broken a rib, but he had taken far worse hits. Managing to right himself, he bent his knees and crashed into the distant wall near the ceiling, making a crater big enough to comfortably fit several houses in. Shaking his head, the soldier glanced down at his side. The mend had been instant. Whatever streak he was on, the counter was blasting upward faster than he could see it. It was making him, pretty much, unkillable. At least for however long it lasted. He thought quickly. If he was currently level... No. That was climbing too rapidly as well as experience points for the slain demons flooded in. He'd passed 130 at least, so he assumed that was close enough. In other words, a little over 2 minutes. He had a little over 2 minutes to take that thing down, if he wanted to hold the advantage. Tensing, he jumped out of the crater in the wall and fired his grappling hook into a stalactite. Clenching the muscles in his arms and back, he twisted and pulled in one motion, and he shot off like a bullet from a gun. It was hard to track how fast he was moving, but he was headed straight for the decimated arena once again, and he clenched a fist. Narrowing his eyes, he carefully spread his arms and legs out, angling himself and changing his trajectory slightly to gain more accuracy. He had a split-second view of Turin, 2 feet away from him before his punch landed, and he felt his arm shatter. Like before, it fixed itself instantly, and he rolled to a stop, getting to his feet and summoning the chain gun. Turin's head had been imploded from the force, and he was pulled back into the correct shape like putty. This time, his teeth were jutting out of his jaw like needles, and his eyes were growing larger as he bent his lanky body into a hunched shape. Claws curled viciously. The soldier opened fire with the chain gun and felt his bones rattle from the force. Turin's body began bending unnaturally as he dodged the bullets, swerving back and forth, and at times seeming to vanish from existence as he avoided the screaming chunks of magic lead. A vibrating hiss emanated from the demon. "You annoy me, corpse!" Turning his entire body into a single half-moon and spiralling around the soldier's cone of fire, the demon crawled with lightning speed across the ground and raised its razor-sharp claws in an upward stab, puncturing the soldier's armour and lifting him into the air with a victorious grin. Except the soldier had an equally smug grin on his face, and even as red blood ran down the exterior of the armour, he raised a double-barrel shotgun to Turin's face. He blasted the demon in the face, and Turin retreated with a rising shriek of pain, dropping the soldier and pulling his claws out with a dull stumbling backward. The demon scrabbled at his own face with a moan of agony. Rising to his feet, the soldier strode forward, the stab wound healing, and jumped onto Turin's torso. The demon lashed out blindly, his gouged eyes useless under the circumstances, and the soldier bent back, avoiding them easily. Leaning forward, the soldier extended the doom blade and stabbed Turin in the face. The scream went even higher as the soldier's arm pistoned into the demon's head, reducing it to a bloody pulp in less than a minute. Turin's claws struck upwards, but due to their inaccuracy failed to cut through the soldier's armour again. His scream gradually died, as the soldier continued with all the inexorable fatality of death itself, and ended as a slight whimper. Standing back, chest heaving, the soldier smiled. The demon's head had been utterly destroyed, a soggy red crater of wet flesh making up his face as his body twitched uncontrollably. Doom! Surprised, the soldier advanced, and Turin's decimated head turned to him. Why? What is your objective? Arliss approached, sombre at the realization that the demon was well and truly on his way to his final death. No matter how much he might have hated or feared the demon, it was pitiful to see something so powerful reduced to a shivering wreck. Turin, he can only say, "Rip." They both turned to the soldier, Arliss's eyes widening in shock. Did you just The soldier leaned down until his visor was right in front of where Turin's face should be. Rip and tear until it is done. Raising the shotgun, he aimed it at Turin's head, and the faintest impression of a smile crossed the demon's mouth. You are a terrifying opponent. A worthy opponent. The soldier fired, and everything was quiet. This has been Doomguy Isekai, written by Angry Spider, read by Jack Sapsford, produced for Season 5 of the Long-Winded One podcast. The author and/or any present or future publishing company retains all the rights for the associated work. This work was read by permission of the author. If you have enjoyed the reading of this work, you can find me at my website, www.jacksapsford.com, or on Twitter @JackSapsford.
Thank you for joining us down this Lit RPG deep dive. Please consider giving us a review on Apple Podcasts and visit us over at longwinded.one, where you can see past episodes and find all of our socials, even our new Discord server. We hope you enjoy.